Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jump right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at the profoundly resilient and just deeply inspiring life of Hazrat Kulthum. Now, we all know the broad strokes of early Islamic history, right? But the quiet, unshakable strength of the Prophet Muhammad's third daughter, that's a story of immense patience and divine honor that honestly doesn't get told nearly enough. To really grasp her value, we have to kind of set the stage. And it's a dark stage. We're talking about the Jahiliyyah era, the pre-Islamic period of ignorance. Surah An-Nahl gives us this chilling snapshot of the mindset back then. It literally says that when a man is given the news of a baby girl, his face becomes dark and he is filled with grief. Infant daughters were viewed as financial burdens, huge liabilities, and sources of profound shame.
And the cruelty of that time, it was unimaginable. We're talking about a society literally drowning in cruelty, burying newborns alive in pre-dug pits, throwing them from mountains. But then, you look at the prophetic household and it's a total 180. When the prophet welcomed his third daughter, there was absolutely zero grief, just immense tenderness. He welcomed her using the beautiful tradition of tahnik, affectionately chewing a date and placing that softness right into the newborn's mouth.
A light in dark times. So she arrives into this incredibly loving, spiritually rich home about 6 years before prophethood. The prophet was 34 years old at this time, and her mother was the great Hazrat Khadij. They named her Kulthum because she had this bright, beautiful, delightfully round face. For her first 7 days, her mother nursed her, and then she was lovingly cared for by Somai. She basically grew up like a twin with her older sister Ruqayya, surrounded by parents whose moral compass was just miles ahead of their society.
Faith and extreme trials. As she and her sisters grew up, the divine mission begins, and it completely flips their world upside down. Kulthum was actually among the very first to accept Islam. As a young girl, she felt the immense weight of those early revelations. During Fatratul Wahi, that agonizing temporary pause in divine revelation, the prophet was dealing with deep, deep sorrow. But Kulthum, she stood right there, firmly alongside her parents, offering emotional support and a level of maturity way beyond her years.
But of course, openly declaring Islam brought fierce opposition. And the hardest part was that it came mostly from their own extended family. The social pressure was off the charts. Now previously, because of intense family pressure, Kulthum had been bound in an unconsummated marriage to Abu Lahab's son, Utaiba. Well, as hostility peaks, especially after Surah Al-Masad comes down condemning Abu Lahab, that hostility turns into a cruel reality. Abu Lahab and his wife, Jamil, literally weaponize this marriage. They demand their sons divorce the prophet's daughters immediately, purely as a psychological attack.
And Utaiba doesn't just follow orders. He crosses every line of basic respect. He confronts the prophet with outright insolence. He violently announces the divorce, denies the religion, and in this shocking act of aggression, he actually tears the prophet's garments. It was so cruel that the usually infinitely patient prophet utters a very heavy, specific prayer. "O Allah, set one of your dogs upon him."
Now, Utaiba tried to brush that warning off, but secretly he was terrified. Later, on a trade journey to Sham, they're resting in a place called Zarqa, and a lion approaches the camp. The caravan is so freaked out they put Utaiba right in the dead center of their circle to protect him, but it doesn't matter. The lion bypasses everyone else, walks straight through the crowd, and strikes Utaiba down, exactly as the prophet warned.
Year of sorrow and hijrah.
As the physical threats escalate, so do the trials inside the house. Her older sister, Ruqayya, is married now and has migrated to Abyssinia. So, young Kulthum stays behind in Mecca, and she walks straight into a period of profound heartbreak. For 3 agonizing years, 3 whole years, she endures the devastating social boycott in the valley of Shiab Abi Talib. The Muslims are starving, totally isolated. But even through that extreme poverty, she stays strong. She's constantly comforting her weakening mother, Hazrat Khadij, with this unshakable faith that relief is going to come.
But shortly after that boycott ends, tragedy strikes again. In Ramadan of the 10th year of prophethood, Hazrat Khadij passes away. And following that devastating loss, this young girl remarkably steps up. I mean, she basically becomes the pillar of the household. She takes over all the domestic duties so her father can focus entirely on his monumental mission. When he'd come home absolutely exhausted from the abuse of the Makkans, she'd greet him with such deep love, washing away his grief. It was truly extraordinary.
Then comes the massive command to migrate to Medina, and the suspense here is palpable. The Prophet leaves first, which means Kulthum and her younger sister Fatima have to stay behind in a highly dangerous Makkah. They are surrounded by enemies, actively plotting to assassinate their father. She lives in absolute terror, losing sleep, losing her appetite, just totally consumed by anxiety. It isn't until she finally gets the joyous news that her father is safe in Medina that she makes the safe and honorable journey to reunite with him.
Uthman's life partner. Fast forward a bit. The Muslims are celebrating this huge monumental victory at the Battle of Badr, but Hazrat Usman is absolutely shattered. His wife, Hazrat Ruqayya, Kulthum's beloved older sister, had fallen gravely ill and passed away. Usman isn't just mourning his wife, he's weeping because his direct familial tie to the Prophet has been severed. The grief is inconsolable.
Seeing him in so much pain, his friend Umar tries to help by offering his own daughter, Hafsa's hand in marriage. But Uthman, who is still deep in mourning, politely rejects the offer. Umar is understandably a bit hurt and goes to the Prophet. And this is where the Prophet steps in with this brilliant, divinely inspired prophecy that ends up healing everyone's hearts. He promises that Hafsa will marry someone better than Uthman, meaning himself, and Uthman will marry someone better than Hafsa. So, in the 3rd year of Hijrah, acting on a direct divine command brought by the angel Jibril, the Prophet marries Kulthum to Uthman. The women of Medina are overjoyed, happily helping prep for the wedding. And by marrying the Prophet's daughters one after the other, Uthman cements this unparalleled historical title, Dhun Nurain, the possessor of 2 lights.
Farewell to eternal home.
They have 6 beautiful, peaceful years of marriage. She gets to witness huge milestones, like the Treaty of Hudaybiyah and the conquest of Makkah. But then, in the 9th year of Hijrah, at just 27 years old, Kulthum falls severely ill. And to make it even harder, her father and her husband are both away on the difficult Tabuk expedition. She's childless, she's suffering, but she remarkably holds on just long enough for the Islamic army to come back. Seeing her father and husband return safely brings total peace to her heart. Shortly after, in the month of Shaban, she peacefully passes away.
The Prophet's grief was visible, but he was deeply composed. He stands right outside the door, personally instructing the women on exactly how to bathe her with the utmost dignity. He leads the funeral prayers himself and tenderly lays her to rest in Jannatul Baqi, right beside her sister Ruqayya. As they close the grave, he reminds everyone there to level the earth neatly, beautifully reminding them that we are created from the earth and to the earth we must return.
And standing at the graveside, seeing Uthman completely crushed by losing his second tie to the Prophet's household, the Prophet offers this magnificent testament of love. He says, "If I had 40 daughters, I would marry them all to Uthman, one by one, until not a single one remained." Just wow. It's a breathtaking validation of Uthman, and it perfectly caps off Kulthum's earthly journey. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a second and reflect. Think about this young woman who survived social boycotts, brutal poverty, a forced divorce, and the loss of her mother and sister. Yet she never once wavered. Ask yourself, how can her legacy of quiet resilience and steadfast faith anchor you during your own darkest hours? Thanks for exploring this incredible history with me today.
সম্মানিত ভিউয়ার্সরা, আপনাদের যদি ভিডিওগুলো ভালো লাগে তাহলে আপনারা লাইক, ফলো, শেয়ার দিয়ে আমাদের পেজের সাথে থাকুন। দেখা হচ্ছে নেক্সট ভিডিওতে।